if I was actually there. Morning, everybody. How you all doing? It is Saturday, June 20th. I am in fabulous Las Vegas. Came out to support Rodney. More details to come with that. And next week, we'll probably get into some today, but next week will definitely be a hell of a lot deeper than this week. Got to silence my daggone phone. Um, Father's Day, so I wanted to wear my jersey. No, it's not a Knicks jersey. This is a New York Lincoln Giants jersey. It's another Harlem team. It's a Negro League baseball team, and they played at Olympic Stadium. There was one in New York back in the day, just to let you all in Harlem specifically. So I got to represent. Anyhow, um, if you saw the opening ceremonies for the library. I want to make sure that's not too much light. We will talk about that today. If you didn't, we'll talk about that today. If it is too much light, I'll get somebody else's opinion. It's kind of dark in my room. There's not really a place that I can go to get some good light. I apologize. I'm getting distracted. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about the memorandum of understanding with Iran today. We'll talk about Father's Day. We'll talk about um, Juneteenth because Juneteenth was yesterday. So we'll talk about those things and more as we always do. But wanted to start with acknowledging the fact that this is a very busy weekend. You have Juneteenth, Father's Day, all mashed up together. It's been lovely. I came out late Thursday, actually early Friday. My damn flight was delayed. It was some really bad weather that came through, so my flight was delayed and whatnot. But been running away from Rodney most of the day yesterday, and finally caught up with him on purpose at the gathering yesterday at Mariposa. Uh, Again, this was not something that he knew about. I popped in on purpose on the low to be of hand and of service during this weekend because I know it tends to be a busy weekend for him and his world. But not only that, it's Father's Day weekend, and there's a personal anniversary of his that's coming up, and I'm not going to be able to make that. That's going to be next week Friday, and next week Friday I'll be going in for surgery, so that it just didn't work out. So as I told him, I was like, this was the only time to work out, and it worked out rather well because it's Father's Day. It is Juneteenth. That's a win-win, no matter how you slice it. So it was it was it was good to be blessed with the opportunity to come out. I'm definitely enjoying it. This is one of the few places, if I don't tell his ass that I'm coming, that I can actually relax. Because if I tell him I'm coming, it's no relaxation, none whatsoever. And still, because of the time difference, man, 5, 6 o'clock, my ass is done. I stayed up late last night. We did some running around. I went to dinner without him. I tried to go see Janelle James. She was performing at MGM. I didn't know till last minute, so I tried to make that. It didn't work out. It's okay, but yeah, it was a good night's rest. Um, Dog freaking tired I was when I finally hit the pillow. I apologize to the team because normally we have a final discussion on Friday about what we're going to talk about on Saturday, and being out here with the time difference, it did not factor in my mind. Again, when we get to moving, we get to moving. So I got information to them late, but we're good. Thomas Berry said he was going to be late or in the show. Rashi's already here with us, so we're good to go. We're in good hands and whatnot. Morning, Sister Rashi. How are you?
I'm good. I've been doing my granddaughter. I done sat here and did at least 2 days with OGD, and me and her done ran up and down and painted and made shit on the table and listen to music and dance. I need y'all to tap in. People out there listening, tap into your lineage, tap into your grandparent time. It is real. Like I'm young again with her. I can when I see things in her eyes, I can be back. It takes away at least 40 years. I can see, how important a bird singing on the porch is. I can see how fun a water puddle is. I mean, it grandchildren literally pull you back from that ever speeding aging process, and it helps you like re tap into here now, here now important. And that's what I've been doing. I've been here with my granddaughter a couple of days, so uh, I'm actually 4 years old right now, so look forward to some childish ass shit to go down.
I was going to ask you, how old is she? Because I didn't remember, but
She'll
you
be
said it
hitting
already.
four. She'll be hitting four here in August. Her milestones are amazing. Remember, I was telling you, I was a little worried because, for what I knew, she was fairly nonverbal. But now, while her words are a little jarbled, they coming. Her words are coming. And if when she can't get you to hear what she's saying verbally, she'll grab your hand and take you to the source and point, and she is actually a teacher already. She has trained me to know that lit lies is French fries. Lit lies is French fries. So when I ask you what you want to eat, is you say, I want to hear lit lies. I know now that those are French fries, and that means everything to me. Like I can learn Swahili, I can learn Spanish, but can you learn the gibberish of your grandchild? You know what I'm
That's what's
saying?
up. That's what's up. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, man. It's. So I have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old. Not around them nearly enough. Life be life, and we talked about this actually last night at the gathering. How the uh, the family structure has truly changed in America, where you know maybe not so much us, but at least our parents, if not them, then our grandparents. People tend to live close to one another. And then there came a point where people started moving away and it got even further and further and further. And spending time with one another became even less and less of a thing. And that's a problem. That's not sustainable. That's not
And
how
and
we
we've never done that. How did we survive transatlantic slave trade? Our cut when they came to capture, and I ain't trying to be. I'm harkening back to Juneteenth. When they captured us, they didn't get one person per tribe. You understand? They captured us, and I do mean captured. I'm not fucking around. We didn't march willingly into nobody's transatlantic slave trade. When they captured us, brother, they captured your brother. They captured you with your brother. Y'all was out catching birds. They captured you with your mama. Y'all was out fishing. They captured you with your age cohort. Y'all were out uh, you know, doing the rites of passage ritual that happens in your tribe. And that's when they ran up on you. So they were able to capture nine little boys from the age of 6 to 13 because
mm,
that's how we cohort to teach our lessons. So I just need people to understand because they think they got one dude. No, they got whole families. They at some point was clearing for lack of just a few warrior men and women, whole villages. They rounded that whole bitch up at gunpoint, right, and marched them onto the ship. So, and then they did that 100 miles away with people who may or may not be exactly like the ones they marched on. So, what what I was trying to say is that we have been learning. We have been learning each other. We've been learning each other's idiosyncrasies and language variations. And so, yeah, yeah, you're right, bro.
mm. Yeah, so again, with the families being so scattered like we are, we don't spend time with one another like we used to. Obviously, depending on where they move to or where you've moved to. Again, as I said at the table last night, who who here is from Las Vegas? Nobody.
Yeah, Las
All
Vegas
you
is an
mofos,
implant town. Yeah.
right? All you mofos decided to move here. Now, how often do people come see you? How often do you go out to see other people? Is it just that special occasion, meaning Christmas, Thanksgiving, the major holidays? Is it only weddings or funerals? That's the only time you see your people. So now there becomes rub. So they don't know you.
Brother Vaughn,
You
does your family reunion? Do y'all
yes.
reunion? You do? Have you
Now
annually?
On my mother's side, yes. On my father's side, I have no idea. I've only met them once. The family in Virginia, I've only met them once, and that was strictly for a couple of hours, and that was that. Now, the
Yeah.
folks in New York, yeah, we do it pretty much every year.
Yeah, my family
That's
on
to my mother's
my
side.
father's side, they reunion. These are West Indies folks that can't gather in Florida, Pensacola, and around. But
Okay.
because I'm the side chick's baby, I have never actually been. But I'm looking forward to before my aunt, uh, Grandma Hattie go, and she's like 80 something. I'm gonna try to get out to. But my mother's family, we have been so downtrodden. I don't think we have ever reunion. My mother attempted it about 20 years ago. The turnout was fine, but it was everybody who was already here. Nobody was willing to really. We only had two families show up who were not from Missouri, who are not already here, and so
Right.
it's a something. But that's what's supposed to happen. If you're listening, y'all supposed to get together every 2, 3 to 5, every two to
Well,
four.
for my father's side, I'm very persistent on reaching out to anyone with the last name Vaughn, be it spelled AN or just N, because I see it as a way to potentially put together some pieces. I don't know if I ever shared this before, but I have a great uncle whom just left, and nobody knows where the hell this dude went to. Nobody. He never reached back to the family. Nothing. He literally just rode out one day, and I've always wanted to find that piece. Not that it may not be a good piece, but I've always been curious about that piece. Like, where is he? Where did he wind up going? Did he start a family? Does he have a family? Did he keep the spelling of his name with the A? Did he drop it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I've definitely been bent on trying to find him.
All right, put a pen, write a note on the side real quick and say that we need to do a genealogy episode. How to, how to find your people. You know what I'm saying? Because that is Juneteenth. What's Juneteenth? What did we do when they emancipated us? We went and found our people, right, Lee?
Correct. Now, remember, Juneteenth isn't just about emancipation for us. That's more about emancipation for the slaves that were held in Texas because of the greed of America and American white farmers. Because, from the balcony of that hotel in Galveston, Texas, read the proclamation of freeing of the slaves. But that came 2 years after everybody else in the nation knew and understood that they were free. So, um, to your point, though, even there, yes, it did begin with folks looking out for their relatives, trying to find, literally walking to find their folks, trying to put their
Right.
family back together.
Right, to reunite their family. One facet of Juneteenth that always struck with me is because I love to see where the money resides. Right, whatever. Follow the money. Follow
Follow the
that
money.
motherfucking
Follow
money,
the money.
baby. You follow that money. You find revelations in following money that you'll never find by genealogy or common goodwill. When you follow that money, you see. You know why I can read? I can read because he earned his pension, right?
Hmm.
They killed him in the war, and he signed documents saying that it's because he didn't have nobody that he knew of. And I just keep saying he because that's how predominantly the army was back then.
Correct.
He gave it to the Freedman's Bureau, and because of the Freedman's Bureau, they built the school. And then when they built the school, they put a teacher in there, and boom, black teacher legacy begins with this ideology that even my money when I'm dead is gonna do liberation work. You hear me?
Hmm. I do.
So
I do.
so I just love uh Juneteenth. I know most people say I have at least three scholar friends who say this is a hoax holiday that we are um that we're celebrating ourselves. Okay, he wanna blast this tag. Leave his tag
You know
up
what I'm
there.
saying?
Yeah, you act like you ain't never. You act like you didn't have a hat with the tag on the side. I know you
Oh,
definitely the kind of black man that had the brand new fitty with the hat tag on the side.
okay.
Okay, now
So,
so hush up. Leave that man tag alone. All right. So why do I love Juneteenth? It's because it's our it's my Christmas. I ain't trying to be funny. It's my Christmas because I'm not Christian. So I don't
mm,
actually believe in the white man in the chimney. But I do truly believe that black folk can see the future. Like we have our mitochondrial, and I don't get mad. Come on now, I'm finna bust the science down. Just hold it for a second. Our mitochondrial DNA holds historical reference. I know what I just said. I know what I
mm,
just said. The actual coding, the universal coding for us mitochondrially holds her. It holds her. That first her, the she, right? I call her the she. They didn't call her everything, but I call her the she. All right. And so when we get to remembering all that and we start talking about how I got over and we start thinking about that I mean, they whip this on our paycheck now, but they used to whip your actual fucking back. I don't know which one is worse. I honestly don't know because they got me. FICA got my ass in a chokehold. But what I want to tell you is it is fantastic to know that I'm not beholden to who? There's nobody finna mount me. Okay? There is no one mounting my daughter or I'm right here with them. I have four lineages. My mama, me, my daughter, and my grand we're still together. Nobody saw value in how beautiful my daughter was and sold her to Thomas Jefferson. You understand?
mm,
And no one is currently teaching my granddaughter how to reach inside a cotton bowl so that she don't get her finger edges
prick.
ripped up
Yeah.
by the prickly. You understand? No one is
Mm.
teaching my granddaughter, even though I feel like she still should know. You got to learn how to work that land. I ain't trying to be funny. That's that historical reference. You got to know how to work the land. But no one is doing it by whip. No one. There's no driver man. And
Mm.
so I am just so happy to be here now, even though because of how I get down, educationally, I feel my great grandmother. I feel her rowing that hoe. I feel her pulling them weeds. I feel her back. My booty back hurt right now from her bent over. The booty back, brother Rodney, is where the booty meet the back. Anyway, my I feel it. I have historical reference. I know when that sun get to beaming down on my head, I know to pull that rag and put it on my head or put a hat on. Because my grandmother or great grandmother or she wouldn't have made it with almighty sun beaming on her. She knew. She had historical reference. So I just
Right.
thank you, brothers. I love Juneteenth. It is my Christmas. I do.
You went low.
I got $300,
You
brother
went low.
Jonathan. Huh? I'm right here.
There
I
you go.
got
There you go.
300. I got $300. I'm about to spend, and that's mean something. They took my summer. That's my summer check. Because I'm fine there. Anyway, I'm gonna go spend that. I'm spending spend. I
Okay.
got pulled 300, and I'm gonna spend it with. I'm gonna look at their eyes and see if they black like me, and give them that money because that's what it's about. It's about what's my money for in my living years and my demise. In my living years is to patronize people who are sharing my vision in the moment. And in my dying years, if I don't have enough to build a legacy for my granddaughter, at the very fucking least, right? I
Right.
can bequeath what little pennies there are to, and that's one show. Please put a pin in this. If I'm a dead rich black person, who get my money? If my kids is rich or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start talking. Who get dead black people's money? Cause they don't know who they. Everybody coming up, crooked. So who should be getting my money when I'm if I strike it rich, Lord, please don't let it happen. If I get the money, that's right. Don't let it happen. Money is scary. Oh, you ain't seen Cursed by the Lottery? We'll talk about that later. If I get the money, who should get it in my demise? If my family is fine, if they're already working on, then there is better, like the Freedman's Bureau of the back day. There is a current day Freedman's Bureau. Who should get the dying African diasporan dollar? Okay, and we need to talk about that.
Okay. So,
Scribble that down at the bottom for me.
okay, got you. Morning, want to recognize Rodney as he is up and looks like he is fully awake this morning. What's up, Rodney? Did you get some sleep last night?
I got a few hours, brother. Yes, I did.
Okay, that's
What?
what's up.
Hey,
That's
you
what's
need to
up.
unbutton the top two buttons because they've been used to taco meat, brother. You don't give them their meat.
They don't
If
know
you
what to
don't give
do.
them their
They don't
meat,
know what to do.
they gonna log off if you don't give them their meat.
So I,
Hey,
I
Rodney,
actually I actually thought about not buttoning it at all, but I thought that might be too much. So here I am.
Rodney, happy Father's Day to you, man. Again, I started off the show talking about the fact that I was here and came out to support you and stuff. I know that this is a busy weekend for you with all the Juneteenth events happening in and around Las Vegas. Please, people, understand something. Las Vegas is an actual city. It does not begin and end on the strip. It's a whole city. There's Burlington. There's Ross. There's a Sam's Club. Dog, I didn't even know Sam's Club have a damn car wash. There's a Sam's Club car wash out here. This is bull crackle fulkanackle. Why the hell does the Sam's Club have car washes every goddamn place? You know what I'm saying? But I was in the Five and Below yesterday, getting him a gift bag for the jersey. So yeah, Ronnie, the hat that I do remember that now. He called me a couple months ago. He was like, "Man, thanks for the hat." I was like, "I didn't send you no damn hat." Then when he came in with it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I did send him that. I forgot. I shop too damn much. That's a damn shame. I forgot all about that Joker. But it matches perfectly with the jersey. That's why I got the hat. That matches perfectly with the jersey. Um, you know, for these things and more, I said to you last night. I'll say publicly. I am forever grateful to you. Yes, you did catch me when I was a young pup. That was 97. So I think I was 20. I was actually 22 when I
Okay.
got to Korea. Yeah, man. Yeah, I was 22 when I got to Korea. And to match up with you like we did then and still have now, next year it'll be 30 years, bro. We would have known one another 30 years next year. That is crazy. That is an entire lifetime for people. And we have spent it joined at the hip in one way or another, trying to accomplish things in these streets for our people. And I couldn't be more proud and grateful of you, of you for that. You put that fire in me some years ago, and you kept telling me, you go to the East Coast, I'll be on the West Coast, and we'll work our way to bring our folks together in the middle. And it really was something when I heard it the first couple times, like, what the fuck is this old dude talking about? Like, like, I'm like, this dude is crazy. But to see what we've accomplished, to see what we've accomplished, I'm like, this dude was right. So going back to what Rashi says about black people being able to look into the future, he did it. Because what we have accomplished is no small feat. Sometimes it's human nature, I think, to measure yourself against others to an extent. And even I get caught up in that every now and again. But then I have to check myself and realize just how much we have accomplished, just how much and how often we've had access to information, to people, to places that most folks will never have. Just how often our opinions are counted in that room, whatever that room is, and what's ever being said. And again, most people will never know about those things. because we weren't in front of the cameras, but we were in the room, be it in person or we were counsel for somebody that was in the room. You know, your phone rings, my phone rings. Hey man, let me holler at you for a second. What's up, dog? Bruh, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is how I would play it. You know, if you do that, this is what I see is going to happen. You know, it's your choice, but I'm telling you, this is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? This is what I'm hearing in them streets. This is the effect that I think that decision that you're going to make will have. Take it for what it's worth and do what you do. But I'm here for you. Uh, and it's not about always being in the orbit of the big name people or what have you, because just like in the military, it's not them that really move mountains. It's the folks that you don't know about, that you don't see, that really move mountains. So, you know, yeah, definitely. Thinking about that from damn near 30 years ago and seeing it now in actual time, knowing whom I've run across, knowing whom I have access to, knowing who you run across, knowing who you have access to. Yeah, man, it is mind blowing for real. You've said on more than one occasion that there are people that tune into us week in and week out because they get the news in the manner in which they can really actuate it, that is acceptable to them, it's palatable, it's whatever. Brother Jamar is on right now. Thank you, sir. Happy Father's Day to you as well. Um, but that's real. That was the whole point of this thing when we started it so many years ago, to keep it real, to make it memorable, to make it in a manner that anybody would feel like they were connected to it, and because of that, they would want to either share the information that they glean from it or share the source so other people can join in as well. The reason that we have this format, the reason that we have the banter the way we do, is to make it feel like you're talking to your friends. That is the reason that we do what we do the way we do it. And again, you can get caught up, you being me, can get caught up about measuring myself or what we do against other folks. Or I could sit back and say, it's a very good feeling when someone calls me, when someone sends me a note, when someone texts me and says, "Dog, your show was great today. I didn't know about this, that, and the third. Oh my goodness." Or, man, I learned so much every time I listen to your show, every time I watch your show, every time I'm on your show. That that's a win. Like, I feel like freaking Superman, to be honest with you. It really takes me to another place, man. So when people ask about how's it going, what's the sorry about that. I thought I turned this damn thing off. What's the future outlook for it? I tell them all the time the same thing. It's going great and the future looks bright. You know what I mean? Because I ain't gonna stop until the clock expires and I have nothing else to give. And I ain't there yet. I'm not there yet. There's too much information. There's and information is power, right? So again, I start from where I started at. I started with the news talk station in Baltimore, Maryland, WOLB, part of the Radio One family owned by Miss Kathy Hughes. And our slogan for our station was information is power. I truly believe in that, without a doubt. And I think that when folks are given the opportunity to actually have all the information, they do what they're supposed to do with it. They actuate it in a manner that usually is beneficial for them and the folks around them. Some people, it goes in and goes out. Most people take it, strain it, and move with it. So that's why we're here. You know, where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? What's up, guy? What about the What about them Knicks?
What
53
about them
years.
Knicks? What about them
53
Knicks?
years.
Man.
53 years. Goodness gracious.
And see, I was a teenager back when I'm pretty sure it was Willis Reed's team who got that championship. And man, look at them now.
Well, as a Celtics fan, I'm never going to jump on the bandwagon. However, look, I told you the Knicks pissed me off when I was young. I didn't know no better, but I was pissed, and I was like, I'm going to support the Celtics, and that's what I started doing. I ain't jumping off the wagon. It is what it is. But congratulations to the Knicks. The city was
Hey, look at okay, electric. Did you see them people take to the
the
streets?
city was crazy. You're going to win the championship the same weekend as the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Come on, son. This is
Pride and Juneteenth. Boy, that
yeah.
city ain't nobody in them apartments. All them you can rob all them
See,
people. It ain't nobody in any of them apartments.
hey, see that was their mistake on allowing it to be the week of Juneteenth. They had to do it. So hey, more power to them. Appreciate them amplifying Juneteenth and go Knicks.
And go New
Um,
York. New York needed it. Like honestly, not much positive has been being said about the city other than Ramadami. Ramaswamy was doing his best, but you can't put it all on one dude.
Let
You know,
not
only
not Robert Mondani.
Mr. Mazdazis. He is doing the best he can, but you can't make one man. He can't be Mr. New York. It ain't no such thing as
hey,
Mr. New York. But because you got too many facets, every and see that's what people don't hear. There's only two or three secluded nations that are not represented in New York. It's because they don't leave the island or they don't
hmm,
leave that area. But every other nation in the world is in New York.
look,
Everybody.
my mayor's Muslim, my bagel's Jewish, the Pope is still on our side.
Hopes of brother.
Knicks in five.
All
So,
right, all
to
right.
your point, Rashi, yeah, you're absolutely right. It is there's nothing like the city during the summer. Like let's be clear.
Can you
Let's be
imagine the
100%
money?
clear.
Can you see the
There's
money finna
nothing.
flow? If they don't make it into the black, if them motherfuckers are still in the red after this, I'ma just say it's rant over. Because it's the amount of money flowing through New York right now is perverse. Do you hear me? And
Mm.
so I'm excited for okay, now what? Now what? What does because I'm gonna tell you what it did for Kansas City. It made them get so much money they got decided to leave.
Mm.
When you went, I can do better. Ain't that what they do, brother Rodney? I'm rich. I can't live around you po niggas no more.
Well,
Well, they've been
well,
doing that.
uh, well, a couple of things. Lee, when you said New York in the summer, I know it wasn't legal most times, but the first thing I thought about was
Hydrant.
a Johnny Pump. Opening up a Johnny Pump, getting that soup can, holding it, shooting the water.
Yeah, the
That's
hydrants. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
absolutely.
yeah. For you folks, hydrants. For us, Johnny Pumps. And you know,
That's a new one. I never heard that one before, but that's what's up.
yeah, brother. That's hydrants for Johnny Pumps. You get that can on that Johnny Pump. Get that water
Shave that
going,
mug down, get it
man.
nice and smooth.
Brothers get the music going. Somebody pull out the grill. There's no place that does block parties like New York.
None,
And when the Knicks
none.
won, it was like a citywide block party. That's what I was like, man, the whole city has erupted into a block party. And yeah, memories of my childhood, memories of Willis Reed and the team back in the day, it all came back to me. Yeah, I was like, you know what? We got a mayor that decided to tax rich people. And there's a whole lot of rich people in New York. That means there's a whole lot of people with money who wouldn't have had money. There's some people with some benefits now that wouldn't have had benefits. And I thought, New York just made a comeback and people didn't know it until the Knicks won. And that's when people now are starting to look at New York and seeing, wow, New York, It's not the same New York as 2 years ago.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
And thanks
Um,
to Mr. Mondolandi. Mr. Mondolandi has stood up in front of them people and he told them, and I'm glad that no, because you know it's a little volatile. I love New York, but it can be a little volatile. It's got everybody. So, but he didn't keep himself safe and there are no true riots in the street talking about you gonna pry my money out of my dead hands. Them people, them oligarchs, not quite what they call aristocrats, crats are ready to dump some of that money so they can keep that the shit off that diamond.
mm.
And you right, brother Rodney. Camaraderie. But why do the Knicks got to do it, right? Why the Knicks? I mean, not knocking the
Because the
Knicks. I'm
Giants
not
ain't
knocking the Knicks. I'm not knocking the Knicks. Please don't get to sending bombs to my house, people.
the
I'm not knocking.
Giants ain't.
I'm just asking. Uh, why would it be a sport event that bring people in the street? Willingness literally breathe each other's breath in because I'm seeing them crowds, them COVID crowds. You heard me? I ain't trying to fuck with you. I ain't trying to. I sound like such a downer Debbie, but they willing, right?
Mm.
Uh, but it's for the Knicks, man. Come on, but why not for? Is there nothing? Is there nothing else besides sports that can rally us this way? Because the last time I saw it was what? Well, they don't even give it for gay pride. Like, what do we get? Who can get us in the streets breathing each other's breath like that, other than sports?
I don't
Well,
know.
that's not true. Because
ICE did a pretty good job of getting New Yorkers in the streets,
yeah.
chase, chased them out, and then when they got the jersey, they called back to apologize.
So that and the Puerto Rican Day Parade is huge. Like that is massive in the city. Still, the Thanksgiving Day Parade is huge. Harlem Day is huge. Like Harlem will show up, but it's not even Harlem Day anymore. It's Harlem Week. So that is huge in the city. I think that sometimes if you're outside, you only see what you see because the cameras are there. Most New Yorkers do not go to Times Square. That's fucking tourists. Let's be clear. We are not going to. If the New Yorkers in Times Square from the city, let's be clear about that too. 9 times out of 10, they robbing you. They're not going to see the ball drop. That's just not what we do. We stay home. We already know what's going
Oh
on out there.
man,
It's crazy. It's cold. It's way too many tourists. No, it's just not done. It's just not done. Um, so yeah, there are a number of things that would do it. But I understand your premise, and you're absolutely right. Why do we not show up like that when it's not a quote unquote huge election? Why do we not show up like that when it's the first day of school or the last day of school for the kids or what have you? I definitely understand your premise. I want to get into what we wanted to talk about this week. We gleaned over Juneteenth a bit. Let's attack that first, and then go into the mess that was made with the memorandum of understanding in Iran, and then polish it off with the beauty, the pageantry, the lovely display of tan suits in Chicago for the
And
opening.
before we go, I'm asking for about a 10 minute portion there where I'd like to discuss the interface of Black Death and retail.
Absolutely, absolutely, it's not a problem. Um, let's go into Juneteenth. So again, as stated earlier, Juneteenth is commemoration of the liberation of the slaves in Texas. So roughly 2 years after the Civil War that's not true, it hadn't ended, but roughly 2 years after the Declaration of Independence. You know what? I'm tired. Roughly 2 years after Lincoln declared the slaves being free.
Emancipation Proclamation, brother.
And thank you, Emancipation Proclamation. Appreciate you, sir. I'm a little tired of getting my facts twisted. Um, Union soldiers went into Galveston, Texas to announce to the slaves still being held in Texas that they had been freed. This actually, again, happened from the balcony of a hotel. And when it happened, folk, as we said earlier, Rashi, started trying to find their people. And um, as they did throughout the country, many folks were able to unite. Some folks never found their people. Maybe Rashi, this is where the side baby whole conundrum started. You know what I'm saying? Because if you couldn't find your people, that didn't mean you had to stay single. Maybe you found a lady that couldn't find her people either, and then you started having kids together, and you started a whole new daggone family, not knowing that your family may have been six more counties away or one more state away, and they started a family. Somebody. This is why I think it's very very necessary for black folks to talk about their people when they meet one another because you never know where those trees or those branches may have crossed up on. But anyhow, uh, what time could must have been that day, to be honest with you, and just how sad do you think folks were on that day when they found out 2 years later that they were free? Like, what you
Sad,
mean? This is 2 years in the
angry,
making? This is some bull
angry,
crackle fucking knuckle. Hmm.
not sad, enraged,
Yeah,
infuriated.
yeah, absolutely. Like there's some bull frackle cracker knackle, but them white slave masters wanted those harvests to be done. They wasn't gonna get out there and do it, so that's what they did. They kept them folks enslaved. You know what I mean? I always say the Texas slaves are different kind of breed for real, for real. I mean, just think about that, man. That had to be horrible for folks to continue to endure when they didn't need to endure it anymore because they in effect had been free for some time. But nevertheless, the holiday came about because of that. The day it happened was June 19th. So it was a celebratory day and it's continued. The holiday started in Texas for the most part. It's not for the most part, it started in Texas and the celebrations just spread out, spread out, and spread out. It was really, really, really a Texas thing. Then it became a Southwest thing, and then it became a more of a
That's the
exploded throughout
misnomer,
the
and
nation.
I want to stop you right there because Jubilee Day is has happened well beyond the Texas borders, and so what we need to start thinking in our day in our mindset is the linkage between Juneteenth and the idea of something called Jubilee Day. And Jubilee is beyond Texas. And I want you to know Texas was so important because that's where we up north from Rochester going up to Nova Scotia was one of our escapes. The other escape was down south to Mexico, and our passageway that was most safe was through Texas. So it was essentially a stopgap. You don't have to run anymore. We
Mm,
have secured it even so that not only don't you have to work for this crooked neck punk motherfucker, I'm sorry, Mr. You don't have to work for Massa anymore. You also don't have to run. You don't have to run. And I think that is something I have not seen significantly uh, analyzed within our literature. The idea is I no longer have to leave. It's mine. It's mine. Some of this is mine. Some of this is
mm,
our sisters. And that's Juneteenth. Some of this shit up in here is ours. And not only is it ours, we gonna get the benefits and the see celebrating Juneteenth ain't about barbecuing. It's about reparations. Our reparations package isn't tied in Juneteenth. Go ahead, Brother Lee. I'm sorry.
no, I wasn't saying anything. I was agreeing with you.
Well, I wanna add too though that not only was it 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, but remember the Civil War was over.
Yeah.
It was not just 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, but it was also the fact that the Civil War had been over for over 2 months before they found out. So those slave owners in Galveston, Texas, kept their people enslaved after they had already lost the war.
Right. That's what they don't hear. That there. Let me break it down, brother Rodney. There was a motherfucker on a horse, and he had some rolled up pieces of paper with cursive on it that a motherfucker had wrote over and over again. The people who he was bringing it to may or may not be able to read. So the motherfucker with the paper had to be able to read. He ran down, got it wasn't that many. They had to go to the military because they couldn't find a whole bunch of readers in the population with goodwill, willing to read the motherfucker right. So they put Mr. Johnny Do Good, who can read, on a horse with a couple of other men. Because if you got the only piece of paper saying stop that shit, they gonna put a hole in your motherfucking head. So
Mm.
Mr. I can read white man, do good a white man, had a whole bunch of motherfuckers who may or may not agree with me. How about that? The military is weird in them days. The people riding with you may not be riding for real with you. Rode down town to town, town to town, to the church, because motherfuckers didn't have no city hall for real. They had to go to the saloon. They had to go to the church, and then they had to tell the church to call a town hall thing. And they met up still at the church, the town hall, and he stood up with the paper and he read the paper. He said, "You motherfuckers gonna have to do what? Totally up in your way of life and let these motherfuckers free as of effective 2 years ago."
Mm.
As of
Mm.
effective 2 years ago,
Yeah.
bruh. And if I'm a slave serving water in the back of that motherfucking hall, where Massa just got told that 2 years ago I was free, he better not go to sleep tonight. Not tonight. Tonight is a up night. Okay, because what you say now there? What I'm so sorry, sir. What you say now there? You said 2 years ago? Okay,
Yeah.
so now what we talking about is we told a bunch of people with money, aristocrats, that they cash cap was no longer valid as per American mandate.
Yeah.
And then what? We left somebody there to make them do it. We left it to what? The church to see it through. We went farm to farm to tell each black person what we do. I mean, this is the part of the Juneteenth story I
Well,
think I wish we had a movie on, because riding down to one farm at the very, very tip, what was that? Not Shreveport. I ain't saying it right. It was Galveston.
Galveston.
Riding all, and it's beautiful. By the way, Galveston is beautiful, y'all. Riding down to Galveston, which is important
Where the
because
hell you been in Galveston?
I
Galveston
had
is not
dragged my.
beautiful.
It is. It was nice. I went to the beach. It was calm,
Okay.
seagulls. It was fine. It was fine. It was a little
Mm.
hood, but it's fine. But that's not on the way to Galveston. They told other people this was not a straight shot to Galveston. You understand? Explaining farm to farm, plantation to plantation, that this nation, especially in the South, that we have dissolved the division between the Union, that we are not Confederate and Union anymore. We are the United States of America. And these are them their motherfucking rules. And the rule now is that if you want to hire John Henry, you can. But you can no longer sell his children because he didn't got on your, you know what I'm saying? You can't rape his wife. You can't slap it. You can't whip him on the back. And if he get through working, he got to have something. Now, the ugly deal of Juneteenth is a lot of this is a sharecropper's success. Some of what we celebrating is I'm not enslaved. I own some of America, even if it's a fucked up tenuative deal. My new I am American. I own America. Why is I own America important? Who can vote? Who can say any goddamn thing? Who can broker into a deal? Was somebody who does what? own even a sliver of land in this motherfucking country. That's who got the power back in the day. All right. So
Mhm.
Juneteenth ain't it's more than this. I wish people would stop trivializing it. Juneteenth is our diasporan liberation holiday because we honestly don't have anything else. Our only other holiday is Kwanzaa, and Kwanzaa is our Pan African reach around. You understand? But Juneteenth is our celebration of survival. We made it, nigga. We made it, right?
Okay, I think we,
We made it, but keep in mind that in that order,
General Order number 3.
General Order number three, keep in mind that a part of it was that slaves, or now former slaves, were not supposed to rebel. Also, that they were supposed to go back to their plantation owners and basically ask for a job.
Yes.
They were told not to congregate and not to expect welfare to go to work. So you've been enslaved. You were free 2 years ago. The war for your freedom has been over 2 months ago, and then you're told that you're free, but to go back to your former slave owner,
And
and
ask
ask
for a
them for
job.
a job.
Right. Okay, so now look, I'm finna say something that's gonna give me a bomb in the mailbox, but hold on, okay? These were skilled people. These were
Yeah.
not people. These were what you're saying. Ask for a job, and I'm saying utilize your skill that you had got by the whip. I never said it wasn't by the whip. You got it by the whip. You hear me? It wasn't proper on the job training.
Well, now let's keep in mind though that many of the slaves didn't get it by the whip. They had skills and trades
That
in
brought over from the
Africa,
motherland. Okay.
and they brought that stuff over here. We gave not only our bodies, but it was also the expertise, from the ability to raise rice, and not just rice, but the good rice. We bought that here. Um, Riding horses, animal husbandry. We brought that to the Americas. We, as in black people who came from Africa, since there's a discussion of black people not coming from Africa, but but there we our people brought skills and trades here. The first jockey or jockeys in the country were black people.
But
Exactly. Let's keep in mind that cowboys, a lot of their riding came from black people. So we didn't come here, like they say in the Texas school books, to learn trades. Now, we came here bringing trades, and just like we taught Europeans how to wash their backsides in Europe with the arrival of the Moors, we came to Americas, and we are the ones who eventually brought about the industrialization of a nation from our labor. So no, we didn't come to learn it by the whip. They whipped us to make us go out there and work for them, but we brought skills with us.
and remember, cowboy is actually a derogatory term. Cowboy actually referred to a black person because everybody else was considered a ranch hand. You were just a ranch hand, but cowboy is a derogatory term to describe a black male. Anytime you hear boy at the end of something, that's a derogatory term towards black folks and specifically black men. Let's continue on. You know, regardless of how it started, when it started, where it started, uh, President Biden signed it into federal law back in 21 and or 23. I think it was 21, and it has been because yeah, that was crazy the way he did it because I think he did it like 2 days before it was supposed the holiday started. So
And kudos
anyhow,
to black people for already having celebrated it for so many years before people said any damn thing. Kudos, black people.
But
well,
in that, let's keep in mind though that Juneteenth was more of a holiday in the South,
correct.
um, uh, and it was. I remember when I first started doing my radio show, and I would talk about Juneteenth, and many of the people from Las Vegas came from that part of the country. But most people didn't really know about Juneteenth. Most people in America and most black people didn't know about Juneteenth as it is. This is something that had a snowball effect from those people talking about it and us pushing it, just like we didn't get our freedom by sitting around waiting on somebody else to do it. This holiday came about because we pushed that issue and made it come about.
I was right. It was June 17th, 2021. I had to check my facts. I thought it was 21, but I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah, June 17th, 2021. That's when the holiday became officially a government observed government holiday. And you know when you get government employees a day off, you ain't taking that shit back. Trump been talking about it, but he ain't taking that back. Shit. Negroes still gonna and white folks too. They be like, man, it's a day off. I'm taking my ass to the crib.
Day
They ain't
off
gonna happen.
and money spent because people are out here spending money on food, the clothing, the apparel. Our culture is the number one export of this country, and Juneteenth being a holiday, Africans celebrate Juneteenth, and rightfully so, because of the connection that they are discovering in many cases, not until they come to this country, what happened to us. So, yeah, Juneteenth is a special day. Of course, Lee made it even special by by showing up last night, and it added some pop to Juneteenth because really, Lee said that was a time when people went to reestablish connections with families, and Lee's like the brother that's in the far country that came back or came this way, and I got to see him last night. So we had our uh, we reunited too. So Juneteenth was a perfect day for something like that.
There you go. There you go. Anybody got anything else on that before we move
So what
into
do
our
we
random?
do? So we about actionable behavior, right, Lee? So
Yes.
what doth one do for Juneteenth? All right,
Spend
here you
money with black
go.
folks exclusively as best as possible.
Come on. And well, I guess that finished it all. Okay, I was gonna
Yeah.
say eat black food, wear black
No.
clothes, wear your Jackie Robinson uniform with your black hat, wear your leave that tag out to let it know that it wasn't thrift store. You can find that motherfucker at the thrift store, bitch. Anyway, uh,
But you know what, Sister Rashi? Here's
you
something
make
though.
sure that you go black business small. The smaller the black business, the better. Just long as it ain't the dope man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
we gonna leave the dope man alone. But no, you hit it on the nail on the head. I think this is a great time to have a reinvigorated discussion about reparations, especially as the Orange was going to give $1.776 billion of taxpayer money for reparations for the
all
people
right.
on
So
one
this is what I
six.
want us to do. I want us to
So
look at whatever the hell he wrote up for them, and wherever he put insurrectionists, I want us to put niggers. So look, find the plan he wrote up to give them reparations, right? And then scratch out they name. You ever found your divorce online? You can find your own divorce pamphlet online. And they say put your name right here because divorce decrees is fairly universal. So whatever package y'all he used to get them insurrectionists $2 billion, just download it and erase their name, and where it say billion, put the T.
well, in a part of reparations, it's recognizing the harm that's done. That is actually a part of, we can talk about money and a bunch of other things, but a part of it is recognizing that harm was done. There, a part of reparations is also an apology for that harm that's done. So that apology part has never happened.
But
Clinton
and
did it.
I don't think it ever will happen because if you apologize, then you're saying that the people that were wrong deserve better. I think America's position is we don't deserve better. That's why we have never gotten an apology.
Yeah, but
I,
Lee, never had it can be a short period because I never thought we would have a Juneteenth holiday. I never thought we'd have a black president.
right.
So we those things that we never really believed we could have, or after we believed we could have it, and they did so many things to prevent it, they went back to believing it wouldn't happen. It happened, and so I think that's what you have to have is the belief, is the hope that it can
The hope.
happen, because then you will work towards it. And think I made a video last night, and I hope Lee, especially you, I hope you get to see it
I
because
saw it.
okay, because it was talking about you. And at the towards the end of the video, I talk about going to the ice cream parlor and wishing, I was talking to some white people, and I said, this is a holiday for some of us, and they asked, well, what holiday is it? And I said Juneteenth. And the white guy, when he left, he came back and he says, I just want you to know that it's not just a holiday for. He said, you said it was a holiday for some people, but I want you to know it's not a holiday for some people. It's a holiday for all of us. And Juneteenth, yes, it is the formation of it is recognition of Black people's freedom in Galveston, Texas, but it's also a holiday that for everybody who believes in the basic concepts of America should be recognizing and celebrating. And then Rashi is right. Okay, now you have the holiday. What's next? And there always has to be a what's next.
All
To
right.
cap this, just the last thing. When you say for all, it is truly because when you can stop being a demonic, parasitic, racist, white, pathological, sadistic person, and now you're able to just take your hatred for another human being and have to rechannel it into outright capitalism, that is a that is at least better than you being able to do what you used to do. Juneteenth ain't just for us. Juneteenth is for white folk too, because if you a hate filled, evil, no good piece of shit white man, you don't have to be a slave owner or whatever anymore. You could just be a regular ass capitalist. You don't have to go on and be, to do what you used to do. We found another venue for you. Now you don't have to look evil, uh, quite evil in the eyes of the rest of the world. Wouldn't you say that's a win, Lee?
I would say that. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say too that you've changed the direction of the show because you started talking about hope. So let's go into hope. Let's talk about the opening of the Obama Center. So the formal opening happened. What was it, Thursday? I think it was Thursday.
Yep.
And this is a. He didn't want to call it a library, so he's labeling it more as a center.
No museum.
No, yeah, yeah, and uh, it's supposed to be an incubator for young folks to learn about what they can really do to give back to the country. That's what it's about. There's actually a public library in Chicago City, City of Chicago Public Library inside of the Obama Center. Um, the lineup of folks that were there was off the charts. The speeches, spot on. I think yet again, this was a love letter to America and to the world. When we're looking at tyranny being pushed upon us by this current administration and the world, when you see such glowing hope, such high standards of individuals, the meshing of the youth, the experience of the elders, the openness of the Obamas in general. I said this last night, in a week in which the Iran Memorandum of Understanding should have dominated the news. The news has been dominated by the opening of the Obama Center. This is definitely a slap in the face to Donald Trump and his cronies, his minions, sycophants, as Rodney loves to say. But it was necessary. It
Man,
was necessary for folk to see that we used to be better, that we can be better yet again if we make a different decision and a different choice. It was as close to the feeling that I got when seeing that man run for the presidency that I've felt in quite some time. He is a hell of an orator. That man can tell a story. He is very good at storytelling. But the thief of the show, in my personal opinion, was his wife. The message that she sent to him was very heartfelt. Not only did he hold back tears, but I think she held back tears as well as she was telling the story. If you look to their children, they have grown so much. They are both very tall young ladies, but their mama ain't short nor is their daddy. And they have definitely come into their own. I'm not a perv, but I said years ago that Sasha was going to be a problem, and Sasha is a problem.
she's a
You
problem,
know?
baby. That white outfit was. I said she out
Sasha
here
is a
looking like
problem.
Jasmine Sullivan, playing them games. Quit playing.
What? Sasha is a problem. I said that years ago. When she was like 12 or something, I was like, man, I
You
think
know,
Sasha
honestly,
gonna be
both of those ladies, they have forged, and I want to say own lives,
they've they've done what?
filmmakers, and I don't. They got they have their own lives. You know what I'm saying? They have
Oh yeah,
forged their
absolutely,
own reality, post
absolutely.
post candidacies in election. So I'm really proud. Even if one of them had to link up with Harvey Weinstein, she kept herself at least on the top. Okay, never mind, never mind. But okay, so
That
but they
wasn't
both
even necessary.
I know what I'm
It's not
talking about. I'm saying
necessary.
they held their way through treacherous waters, and
Okay.
Weinstein is treacherous water. If you trying to extract something from that fat nasty motherfucker and you ain't trying to be next on the couch, you gotta be skilled and affiliated, for one, affiliated like a
Okay.
motherfucker, so he know better than to be tempted to touch. So I'm just I'm happy that these ladies who were championed at this show were able to forge their own reality and make their own message. And they not, and while they still getting followed, they still got their own people, CIA or whatever agents assigned to them. They just go ahead on and ignore them motherfuckers and keep living their life, because that's how you should get. They didn't run for office, they daddy did, right? The
Right.
center is beautiful. And let me tell you all I can think of. And I sound like a hater, but it's still funny. Have y'all ever seen the skit on Key and Peele when they was talking about black male Republicans? And the skit was, I am not a monolith. We are not a monolith. You just have to type in the words Key and Peele and we are not a monolith. And you'll see
Okay.
this funny skit about black conservative men and how they just have the same ideas, but they're not a monolith. We're individuals. We just
Hmm.
all believe that we should support the cops and blah, yeah, anyway. So when I saw this huge monolith, all I could think of is, but we are not a monolith. And I don't know if that was a good idea, something sick and twisted in my mind, or just the fact that it was a big, huge, unstanding rock, right? The rock,
Hmm.
a big, huge rock in the middle of the community. And what I would have, I love the sentiment. and I want to talk architecturally here.
Mm-hmm.
I love the sentiment. Hey, I'm down, even though he killed my grandpa, Gaddafi. I'm down with Barack Obama a little bit. But when you start building in the middle of the community, it should be, um, especially when you got the kind of dollars he had to allocate to it. It
Mm-hmm.
should not be a big ass, huge ass rock. I did not like personally the the that it was a rock. I would have preferred something more organic, something more. Even if it was a rock, I would have preferred it look more. I don't know. It just did not, to me, feel. It felt German. It felt like German or Eastern European architecture. I do believe when you speak into black people, a big ass, huge ass, gray ass rock is not. It's not our aesthetic, and I believe that money should have went maybe still to a black architect. I'm pretty sure it was probably a black or something like that architect, but
Mm-hmm.
to something that's, because it's in the middle of the South Side. Am I right? I mean, it's in the South Side,
Yes,
right?
on a
Okay.
19-acre spread.
Okay, so I'm saying that the gardens was pretty nice. The garden they built on the ground is very nice,
Mm-hmm.
but the huge rock, like the unstanding rock, uh, in the middle, that it just did not, in my opinion, speak to one, his Africana heritage. Let's start there. You act like I'm talking about black people, black people. I'm talking about to be a Kenyan man. It would have looked better looking like motherfucking Pride Rock. You understand? Do the little jagged part out there, like that's where they hold where my Mufasa held Simba. I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But make it look like something that's going to spark creative engine architectural ingenuity within the 2 year olds, 3 year olds, 10 year olds, 15 year olds that are going to go in and out of this architecture and learn about uh, and learn, because that's what it's supposed to be, a learning center, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a learning. I mean, not to be funny, because he didn't say museum, right? It's not a
Mm-hmm.
museum. It's not a motherfucking fallout shelter for the apocalypse. It's a community center,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it's for the community, what about a huge gray rock speaks to the to the Chicago South Side community? Say if you wanted to go a different route and recognize the founders of Chicago, because he's a Chicago. If he's not,
But
he is a wine.
hold on,
So
hold on.
I don't understand the big ass gray rock personally.
Okay, hold on, because we can't go too far because we got stuff to talk about. But the design is supposed to be representing four hands coming together in unity. So that's what the design is about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Now, where the four hand concept comes from, don't know. Doesn't matter. It does look different. It is definitely a huge monument in the city of Chicago, and you can't. Well, that's not true because you can do whatever you choose to do. But it is a calling back to, as he said in his speech, President Obama said in his speech, the community that raised him. It brought him into public life. It brought him to his wife. It brought him to public service, public life. Brought him to his wife, which eventually brought his children along. And brought him to the presidency of the United States of America. It was intentionally built where it is to make sure that the folks of South Side of Chicago have access to information and a safe haven for them to grow their ideas. Spot on. That's it. That's all. The aesthetic, we can talk about that forever. The intent is right on. It's spot on. It is wonderful. to see that place. And um, I am blessed because I should be there in a couple weeks for the NAACP convention. I'm gonna look to get some tickets. I know it's gonna be crazy as hell, but I'm gonna try to get a ticket to go while I'm there for that. I know, right? All them black folks all of a sudden at one time come and everybody and their mama gonna be at that piece. But I'm gonna try to get a ticket to go, and maybe I'll nudge Brother Barry for some access because, uh, hey, he's a part of the NAACP in the Twin Cities. They may have bigger access than I got. I'm gonna try to do it, but I'll go the the media route as well. I'll do whatever needs to be done to get in there while I'm there. But that's neither here nor there.
Lee, I also wanted to say
Again,
this about the structure. One of the reasons why it is a rock is it's making a statement that we are here and we're not leaving. When you read up on it, it says no. This is supposed to be here for symbolize 500 years. Well, we've been in this country enslaved for how many years? And
mm,
this is showing we're going to be here free and moving and doing for another 500 years. I thought that symbolism was powerful. Having the library in the building, especially as we celebrate Juneteenth, there was three things on average that former slaves and when they were slaves said they wanted in freedom. They said they wanted their legs, which was the ability to walk around wherever they please freely. They said they wanted the ability to take a nap if they felt like it. And they said they wanted the gift of words. They wanted to be able to read. They wanted to be able to learn. So he planted a rock. We shall not be moved. Harkens back to biblical times of when they crossed the Jordan. They planted rocks as a symbol. We have arrived. These things were done to us, but now we're coming into a new day. We're coming into our own day. I actually thought this symbolism of the rock was a very powerful statement of our resilience up to this point, but also our resilience as we continue to push this country to be more of what it's supposed to be. So the library piece, the ability to read and encouraging our people to read. I bring books to the gathering every week. A lot of people would not be reading some of those books, and in some cases wouldn't be reading at all if they didn't have a catalyst to read. I love the concept. I love the location of it. Yes, Chicago, founded by, you know, the state, founded by a black man, and so he's planted. He's planted. We're here for good. We're not going
yeah.
nowhere.
So again, uh, this was a love letter to America and a love letter to the world, in my opinion. This was perfectly timed. Again, right before Juneteenth. So here goes into the celebratory weekend. Uh, Total black freedom in America under from under, I'm sorry, the terms of slavery. Now, obviously, we're still fighting for total freedom in the country because we are still treated differently than anybody else and everybody else. You saw that in the sentencing of the young man whom uh, was convicted of murder, the white fella, the white gentleman in
Carmelo and
Texas, Carmelo Anthony, yes, and the white brother in Texas. He took his life and he was convicted to life. Well, no, he had life, right? Yeah. Um, but the serial killer got life in prison. Now, how the hell you get life in prison for a serial killing? You a serial killer? Ain't you supposed to get murdered? Ain't you supposed to get that for that? He's a convicted serial killer and he got life. How that work? Tyrone killed one person by mistake, and Tyrone got the death penalty. This cat got life. The shooting of the young child in Mississippi. at the Walmart for suspected theft, shoplifting. 1 year old kid's gone from here.
And I want to thank you for going there because that actually that comment leads me into what I would like to discuss
Go for it.
for today. And it's not going to take long, so please
No,
just
you're fine.
give me about a few minutes here. All right, so it's happening again. It's happened. This is a cyclical behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
The interface between black people and merchandise, right? Uh, what people have put as a what they call the manufacturer suggested retail price on an item. That's a thing. You have to watch the prices right to figure it out. But there's a price put on something based upon how much that item has been how much money it has take to accrue that item to, and then what is it worth in within the population, right? What is that
Mm-hmm.
item worth within? And I'm trying to make that clear because some of the things that black people are losing their life for are extremely low MSRP value. You understand? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like most people would suggest, if you put it in front of them and they didn't speak English or they had not seen this, what we call civilized world, if we weighed a water bottle or a box of diapers against a child or a human life, they would say the human life, right, Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. So I kept, when you keep giving, when something happens over and over, I say, what's happening here? Literally, right? That's science, right? What is happening in my mindset? Why is this happening over and over? And so that led me to do research on theft. Like what is it about theft in itself that is making people want to shoot black people, shoot people, black any people really, but specifically black people, without, so that they don't lose that item, that
Mm-hmm.
inventory, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like, okay, so but the theft is happening. And how do I know? It's because I searched up literal, theft within retail theft. I just typed into Googly retail theft. And one of the things they were talking about is how, boosting where my boosters at. Come on. Popping them tags, throwing it in the bag. That's the new song. I don't know if you know it. That's the new song. It's called Spin That Shit. You got to get with the times, Lee. Anyway, there's actual boosting where you go in the store and you grab the shit and you put it in the bag and you walk out. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then now and it has its own, percentage. In fact, they was talking about that. It's really not that much, really, believe it or not. While it's a lot, but it's about 18%. It's not even half. Like literally. All right. Most people just go in and buy their shit, Lee. Okay. Now let me
Right.
tell you where we popping. You ready to know where it's popping? You got to pull over the 18 wheeler. You got to find a way to hijack the inventory as it come in before it hit the supply chain. You know what I'm talking about, Vaughn. You gotta go wait till you take a pee at the truck stop, and then you take the thing and pop the thing in the back and take the inventory or whatever. That's the new true theft. And they don't even know what to do with that for real, Lee. They focusing everything on what happens at the supply chain. I don't, unless you know something I don't know on that end. What are they doing for when they steal it out the back of the 18 wheeler? Cause that's on the up and up. They've taken it off not just the 18 wheeler, they've taken it off the train.
Oh, that's old shit.
That's old
I,
shit, right?
that's how I got my first gun. We popped the train. I got my first gun by stealing it off the train.
Okay.
That's
So,
that's
but
old
there,
shit.
but have you? But other than the dudes who are in charge of the train being safe, which ain't that many dudes, right? And
Yeah.
you can get an 18 wheeler pop off at any Casey's or what they call it pilot
Like Flying J or
at
Pilot. I
any
got you.
flying J or pilot, right? If you got enough intel, you can hit that motherfucker indefinitely.
But
Who's at the flying J waiting to pop the dudes who's popping the back of the 18 wheel.
That's not as common as you may think. That's actually a little more
It's
common.
on the up and
Look,
up.
look,
This is what I'm
look,
trying to
look,
tell you from
I'm,
the
I'm not.
numbers.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. But when you give a driver his paperwork, it's called a bill of lading. Usually, the seal number is contained on the bill of lading. Drivers don't get paid unless they deliver the goods. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they got to deliver it in full, but they need to deliver the goods. And most companies will not pay you if you show up with a seal that's different than the seal that was sent out, that you were sent out with. Now, there's always a way. I I've worked in logistics for years. I've been a part of investigations for drivers throughout my years. I the the third thing that jumps in mind off the rip was I had a dude that we popped with like $5,000 of Under Armour stuff, and this was just one damn day. He had been on that route for over 2 months. If we popped him with $5,000 in a day, how much had he taken in the 2 3 months that he was on a damn route? And it was one of those situations where he stopped at a store, so that's when he was able to open the door. He stopped, and as he was running stuff into one store, he came back. He was rearranging his truck, and as he rearranged, he took a piece here, took a piece there, and he continued to do the same thing throughout the day. And all he did was take it up front and put it in the cab with him. And at the end of the day, he had all the merch that he wanted for that day. And again, it was a piece here, a piece there, a piece here, a piece there. He wasn't stupid. He was What I mean by that was he wasn't too greedy. He didn't come in and take a whole daggone box. He would
And
just
there
take
was no hateful person there to shoot into the cab of his thing to stop theft. What I'm trying to
no.
get is
So,
this: the interface between where we are losing our lives and where this this
but that's
all.
racism. That's just straight racism. Police should not be shooting at a moving vehicle unless the vehicle presents a imminent danger to somebody, and it should not be the vehicle of by itself. They should have to be in position for something else or with something else to present danger for that. But that's just a standard practice. Racism is, you black, you got a car, now I fear for my life, so you give me another degree of fear for my life because I was fearful for my life when I showed up and you were black. So now it's another degree, and now I'm just, oh my God, I'm scatterbrained and I'm just going to kill you or shoot at you because I know I can get away with it because others have gotten away with it. But that's just racism because white boosters are around as well. How many times have they been shot in a car fleeing the scene? Let's be real. How when do we hear about this? When does this happen? They just get away. Again, the boy on trial for the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. He's still alive. Tamir Rice is not alive. Sandra
Wonder,
Bland is not alive.
one of the things I want
I,
to express is that while these people are not alive, they're gone forever, whether they had a personal insurance or not, or somebody had insurance on them or not. The actual merchandise is already insured. Not
yes,
only is the merchandise insured, it is double insured. Let me tell you how it works. The store has its insurance as an operating business, and when these stores file their taxes, they are able to file something called a Schedule A Form 1040 with an itemized deduction under the umbrella of the NR. When you do that, you can write up to 10% of whatever's wrong or gone in your business. You understand? You
but
can write,
shrink,
huh?
but shrink, which we're talking. That's what it's called in the retail side. It's called shrink. Shrink, stolen property, uh, property that can't be accounted for, however the hell you want to call it, is a measured the percentage of operating costs. It's a standard operating cost. It's cost of doing business. So not only are they double insured, I'm not going to dispute any of the facts that you just spit out, but they're triple insured because let's well quadruple if you will. It's already factored into the P&L, profit and loss of the business. Period. But not only that, the markup on the damn product. So you're talking about a $2 item that you're selling for $75, and someone lost their life over a $2 item because that's all it cost you. And I'm talking about from manufacturing to movement to advertising, it costs you a whole $2 for this item that you're selling for $75 to the product. So it's not worth it. It just ain't worth it. Now, that's not to encourage people to go out here and start stealing a boost and so on and so forth, but let's be honest about
Okay,
it from
but Lee,
the corporation side. Go ahead.
knowing what you know, when I come through and my baby don't, this ain't what happened, by the way. She had bought them diapers, by the way. But anyway, I come through with my baby. I ain't got no diapers. You can take a fucking picture of them diapers, Lee, and let me walk out, right?
Mm,
And write it off. Make you go and make a receipt for it, and you add it as part of your care package or
right.
whatever. You know,
So we got to get to Iran, so we can't get stuck on this. But that's not how business works, and I understand it because business still needs to turn a profit for the shareholders, which in turn make sure that those at the top, in the middle, and to a degree those at the bottom get a share of that profit in the form of raises, expanded business, so on and so forth. Um, so that's not how that works. It's never going to work that way because that's just not how business works. Business is there to make as much money as possible. They need to recoup and contain their losses as best as possible. So I get it. I understand it. Yes, it's senseless violence for something that is not a true loss of life or liberty. But again, from a business aspect, business is there to make money, and it is their responsibility to themselves and the shareholders to make as much of a profit as possible. So, no, it should never come to the loss of human life over a product, but I do understand that business needs to protect itself. That's not that. Let me take that back. That's not a but. It's not a but. It's not a but there. It never should come to the loss of human life over a product. Business does still need to protect itself from losses and or the ability to recover as much as they possibly can from losses. So I understand where folks may have to lose their freedom for some time for stealing from businesses. I get that part, but no one should lose their life over a product. Let's put a bow on that and move on because we need to hit this Iran deal before we run out of time. We have less than 30 minutes left in the show, and we still need to give ourselves an opportunity to wrap up. So the Iran debacle is still going on because the details of this shit is still all over the damn place. But that's what you get when you allow children to hold on to the chalk and the chalkboard, and they don't know how to write in cursive, and you need them to write in cursive in order to make a deadline. But we do not have a ceasefire. We have a memorandum of understanding. I've never heard of a memorandum of understanding in any peace deal ever in my life before. But hey, what you gonna get when you let the clowns run the show? So this is what we got right now. JD Vance was dispatched to bring this thing home. It was not Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Uh, and jokingly, Trump said that if it goes wrong, he'll blame JD Vance. If it goes right, then he'll take all the credit. Uh, don't get me started on lack of leadership from this dude because it is on full display more often than not. But let's run through this mofo, if you will. The memorandum of understanding declares immediate and permanent cease of all military operations against Iran, and it is inclusive of Lebanon. It requires those operations to be halted not only by the United States of America, but any and all of its allies. Israel. Um, it's a 60-day, I'm sorry, it's a maximum of 60 days negotiation period for a final deal to be come up with. The naval blockade is to end in full within the next 30 days. That's Iran's naval blockade, but the U.S. is required to remove all of its uh, naval surface vessels away from the Iranians and Iran. I'm sorry. Safe passage without charge for commercial vessels is to commence for the next 60 days without charge for 60 days. How much is it going to be when they start charging again after 60 days? Hmm. Uh, Regional partners with the United States are to take up the development and definitive mutually agreed upon plan for at least 300 billion with a B to rebuild Iran and economic development in Iran. All requisite licenses, waivers, and permissions needed for relevant transactions will be granted by the United States of
We've
America.
been doing that. We
The,
we always come back and clean up. When we bombed up Japan, we cleaned up after we still paying them to clean up with their 3-headed babies. We always go back and pay. That's the one thing. Hey, if you listening out there, we ain't shit, but we go back and pay them after we wreak mayhem. We either go back and
every,
pay them, or we stay there for a ridiculous amount of time and do like little shit like dig a well and plant some trees and give some babies some vaccines, and we do some weird
every
shit.
every country does that. That's why Germany embarked on World War II because I'm sorry, not it. Hitler was saying that it was treated unfairly after World War One, so that was his ride or pony that he rode to power in Germany because the Germans were decimated after World War One because the world was like, you will never do that shit again. And they taxed the hell out of you. Gonna rebuild this, you gonna rebuild that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So the German people were very much in dire straits. And Hitler comes along and says, hey, you are a strong, vibrant people. Lift your head up, fuck all them. We gonna do it again. You know what I'm saying? We
Sounds
gonna take our
familiar.
power back. So that's how
Sounds
that came
familiar.
about. But anyhow,
Does that
the
sound familiar at all?
it does. Let me continue. The United States um, undertakes all sanctions against Iran, including UN Sanction Council, Security Council resolution, International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governors resolutions, and all U.S. sanctions. Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. Reaffirms U.S. Treasury will issue waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, petroleum products, and derivatives. The U.S. undertakes to make full availability of frozen and restricted funds and assets of Iran. Final deal will be endorsed by a binding UN resolution. Now, for you mofos out here keeping score, we got hosed in this deal. They got everything plus some in this muddle wucker, and we got hosed. Now, if you're also keeping score, you have noticed and noted how the Trump administration has been talking about moving away from the UN. Now, it was strategic, very strategic, for the Iranians to put in the deal that a binding UN resolution was needing to be given when the final deal was going. Why? Not only are the European nations, but other nations are moving away from support of the US by the US. So, ladies and gentlemen, this thing can get very, very ugly if the orange one gets in baby mode and then decides he wants to re-attack Iran later on, especially after UN resolution is given. Because then it can turn any and everybody against our country. That is not a good look at all. They were very smart in sliding that verbiage in there and insisting on that verbiage. Very, very smart. Trump has been an idiot on the national stage. He has been even more so on, I'm sorry, the international stage. He's been even more so on the national stage. Um, it is a dog whistle, dog and pony show. It's continuously dangling red meat at folks about issues and problems that, while they do have some impact on their lives, do not directly impact them, like our national debt, the lack of true education opportunities in the country for everybody, the lack of housing for everybody. The Senate just passed the housing bill. Hopefully, it gets signed by him. But this is a bipartisan effort to make sure that corporations are kept out of single family home purchases moving forward, uh, and it just opens the floodgate for a huge surge in home building in the country. Who knows what he's going to do? Um, but maybe they'll buck him because he has challenged a couple of them who lost their reelection bid and they're on their way out. They have nothing to lose at this point. Who knows what these cats are going to do? The Supreme Court is still playing around with the laws every damn week. The major decisions they still have not handed down as of yet. If you don't know, Supreme Court decisions are handed down on Thursdays. Again, Supreme Court decisions are handed down on Thursdays. So, Thursday, if no other day of the week, you really need to pay attention to your news sources to find out what the hell these jokers did. It amazed me this week that they unanimously agreed that recreational drug usage does not prevent folks from possessing a firearm. However, they did, and you know as well as I know, it's very few things that these cats do unanimously, but that's what they
Okay.
did.
I opt for a revision of my cold dead hands. It's my cold dead weed residued hands. That's how you get my gun instead of. Okay, never mind. You know
Gotcha.
what you don't know what a joke is.
Rodney, after you take your sip, what is your take on this memorandum of understanding with Iran? Do you think it will hold? And what fruit, if any, do you think it will bear?
Well, according to the news that I saw earlier this morning before I went to bed, it had already failed. Uh, Iran said they were closing the straits, and because of America slash Israel violating it already. So my first thought when I heard it was had been agreed upon was that it was probably a lie because it was something for 45 to give himself for his birthday to puff himself up. And if it was true, that it wouldn't last long. I did think it would go into effect and be broken, but it really didn't even go into effect before it was broken. And that's what I see. But also, Lee, is something that you mentioned last night when you said you came to visit me was in recognition of the 30-year anniversary of when I got injured in the desert. And so what the 45th president of the United States just did was he gave people like me the middle finger, a giant fu, because some of those sanctions against Iran was because of what it's did through its proxy to people like me. It also waived all of the penalties against Iran and its surrogates for misdeeds that they have done since the storming of the Olympics, from the hostage. Remember the hostage crisis back during Carter's time? What he said was
Yeah, the
no.
one. Wait, just to make sure, the one Jesse Jackson had to go get him.
Yes, he what he's saying is no. You're forgiven. Everything is cool. We don't. I don't care that you took our people hostage. I don't care that you bombed our people. I don't care that you sent terrorists and terrorized our people. That was all in the past. We're all fine now. We're moving forward. That's what that did. And keep in mind that he signed that at Versailles almost to the day of when Germany in the First World War capitulated and signed their surrender to the Allies, symbolized in 45, surrendered America to Iran. He waved the white flag and forgave them of all of their past transgressions towards this country and others. And those some of those sanctions were actually to pay the people from the Iranian hostage crisis because there was a judgment against them, as well as victims in the 9/11 fund. Those people, that a part of what gave that fund money was sanctions on Iran. And so he just took that money from the 9/11 fund, from the firefighters, the police officers, the EMTs, just everyday citizens that were there. He took that money away from them. I don't think that we understand the ramifications of what he did to hurt service members, first responders, and as we talked about the Knicks comeback, he gave a giant fu to them for 9/11 as well. So that's what I think about it. Not to mention there was 13 lives lost. There's over $100 million spent to prosecute the war that he said wasn't a war, that Congress should have done their job and taken the War Powers Act back from him. I think about all of those things that have happened because I think about the hundreds of people who have been injured. I think about the military installations that will have to be rebuilt or written off as a loss because of the attacks done on them. And look at the cost at the pump. It does those billions that we talked about. That's money that the government spent to prosecute the war. The billions that the people who are damaged by Hezbollah and Hamas that they won't get, but the $300 billion that we're going to give them. And just think about it. He says he would bomb them if they break the treaty or the MOU. So every time he bombs them, that means we're going to have to pay them more money to
More money.
to rebuild it. So there is no win in any of this. It's all a bunch of L's, and it makes the United States look like him, a giant baby who threw a temper tantrum. He said Barack Obama gave 1.6 billion dollars to Iran. He gave them cost us $1 billion per day in dropping bombs. But again, the cost is not just those things I aligned. The cost is in the care of those one day to be veterans who are hurt, and the cost continues every time we go to the pump to fill up with gas.
You know, you talked about the installations, but the material that we lost as well. Not to put aside the cost of the human life, nor the harm. You said something last night that was spot on, which is we never come back the same, physically or mentally. Some folks you will see the scars. Most of us you will never see the scars, but there'll be stuff that we deal with for the rest of our lives that we just can't explain. And the folks that best understand it are folks that are just like us who have served. You know, um, simple things like I still always back into a parking spot. I have to back into a parking spot. If I pull in to a parking spot, my mind is crazy because I'm thinking about how am I going to get out? What, you know what I'm saying? If someone's going to block me, how do I get to my weapon? It's all kinds of stuff that races through my freaking mind. But again, these are things that you don't understand unless you've been in that situation. And we do not wish that upon anybody because these things are not, most people are not built for these things at all. That's why the few of us that raise our hands and choose to serve, serve. But again, the vast majority of us never come back the same. And this is and was an unnecessary conflict that we should have never gotten ourselves into. But as I said last night, and I stand on this, This is grift at the highest level. Watch where these contracts go to when folks start getting these contracts. Look at the reflecting pool and the
So,
fact that it was 4 million, I believe. Now it's going to be 14 million because someone else has to come in to do the same daggone job all over again
and and
because it's peeling
and
already.
rising. It's already been 18 million, and the cost is rising because the paint is literally peeling off of the
Yeah,
pool.
yeah. But this was a no bid contract. Why was it? How did that even happen? Again, let's go back to the beginning of this. When these cats got rid of all the inspector generals, all the oversight for agencies, they came in and got rid of it because they knew what they were going to do. They knew that at every turn, they were going to peel off something for themselves and their donors, for themselves and their friends. That's why you get rid of um, um, all the oversight in these agencies because no one's there to blow the whistle. Yes, Marlon, morning to you. The reflecting pool contract is nothing more than a money laundering scheme. You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And again, bro, a little war ain't going to stop the fact that big money is to be made. Jared Kushner came out, left, was nowhere around when the final deal was signed. Why is that? Because he already had all his side deals signed. He went there first on the ground. It's like, hey, I got a company that can do this for you. I got a company that can rebuild these roads. I got a company, boom, boom. You sign this with for me, and this thing goes even easier for you.
hey man,
I,
Kushner had to
I ain't
leave.
got to be there.
Kushner
I
had
ain't
to
got to be
leave
there.
to figure out the hell's going on in Albania. But this is not his only shaky deal. We need to figure out how he got them broke ass phones done. We need to figure out what's happening with them shiny ass, ridiculous, busted over high top tennis shoes. We got to figure out what's going down with his meme. What's the name of his meme coin? What's the
Oh,
Trump?
I'm not sure.
Trump got his own coin. You know that,
Yeah, he
right?
does. He has. Yeah, he does. He has his
And
own
he's backing
Bitcoin.
it with us. He's backing it on the back. Okay, never mind. Uh, he got he got so many motherfucking schemes in the fire, baby. That's a proper. He
But
got
that's
so
what
many.
happens. But that's what happens when the Supreme Court says that you are immune. So he can do whatever the hell he wants to do. As long as he's still the president of the United States of America, he do whatever the hell he wants to do. This is why he does not want to give up that seat. This is why they've been pushing and pushing and pushing and will continue to push for martial law in the country. This is why they have developed the strategy that they have in order to take so many gubernatorialships, in order to take so many Senate seats, so many House seats, not just federally, but also locally, to get an amendment to the Constitution passed. These cats are on the path of monarchy in the United States of America if we allow it. If we allow it. And for folks to sit around and ponder and say, well, I don't know. You ain't got to know. I'm telling you, it's right in front of you. But they don't want to see it because if they see it, that's admitting that they've been a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. I heard a cat saying, "We got 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna make this short. I'll get to everybody's wrap up right after I say this." I heard a cat say the other day while I was out to dinner in Louisville. He says, "Man, it was cool seeing that UFC fight on the White House lawn. How? How is that cool? Would there be a UFC fight on the grounds of Buckingham Palace? No. So why is there a UFC fight on the grounds of the White House? Please make that make sense to me. Rashi, what you got? Let's wrap up. What you got?
We finna hear my granddaughter cry because it's Saturday morning cleanup time. It ain't nothing worse than a Saturday morning. You know what happened on Saturday morning, right, Brother Rodney? They play their gospel music. She can't play the music. I'm on the phone, but it's time. But most importantly, we need to understand. Money laundering is real in America. So if you, what did I say about an hour ago? Follow the what, Lee?
Follow the money.
Follow this money. We need to follow the money. I don't think there's anybody really doing the investigative work that it's going to take to topple a fascist regime is through the money. How did That's one of the ways we got your boy Adolf. How we get old boy Adolf? We followed the money. We said, how is he funding a youth boys camp in the middle of no fucking where? Oh, he's getting it from raiding the accounts of the Jewish people that he put into the concentration camp. Got it. So that is one of the war crimes he got. You understand? You have to follow the money. And what we don't do in America, we so scared somebody checking our little shitty ass Bank of America account. We don't want to look at them saying, well, what they're doing the best they can with a trillionaire, a goddamn trillionaire's worth of money. All right. So once you follow the money, Lee, we can topple this regime. We can figure out how they're funding these right wing pastors that do all this undercover incel work with the motherfuckers. I ain't trying to go there. I ain't gonna go too far. I'm just telling you, if you follow the money, you can see that whoever's making them goddamn shoes and phones, whoever's making the the coin that they're using to get into the UFC
Right.
thing with, however they paying a dumbass motherfucker to sit there and tell about Michelle Obama is a man, that money is coming from somewhere and we gotta chase it down. All right.
Rodney, what you got?
Hey, big shout out for Hope this week with the opening of the Obama Library. We had Juneteenth celebrating the freedom of us and how we can move forward. Big shout out for all the fathers out there for Father's Day. You know, we don't get much recognition, but our day is tomorrow. I hope that you can celebrate it and rejoice. Also, big shout out to friendship because if you don't have a friend, you need to get one. And if you don't have a friend like Lee, you need to find one. Big shout out to Brother Lee. Safe travels wherever he may go in the world.
Well, my ass is sitting down for a couple of weeks at least. So let's be clear about that. Don't nobody expect me nowhere unless you cooking. And you got a sweet potato pie. That's about it. But in all honesty, happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Juneteenth. We're gonna take the whole damn weekend. It ain't just one day. You know, stay on your square. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. Be willing to learn something new. Be willing to listen. Quick to listen, slow to speak. You know what I mean? You'd be amazed at what you can hear. I want to thank everybody for their support in what we do and for what I do day in and day out. I really do appreciate it. If, as we say always, if no one told you they love you, we do. And a damn thing you can do about it. Family, until next week. Next week, I should be better and recover from my surgery. Peace.